All right. So this morning we're going to be working with Kobi and some name recognition. I'm going to be working backwards. I want to try to be careful just because he still has an upset stomach. I don't want to use too many treats right now, but we also don't want to just completely pause on the training. Good boy, good pee-pee. So that was really good. Didn't mark inside. A big part of it was just making sure that I was having him on leash and following him to when he's first around the room and kind of set the expectations, right? Because usually he's sniffing towards the sides and everything. And whenever it looked like he was going to be marking or pause to, I would interrupt him by pulling him back this way and then going out for a walk so he could relieve himself. We want to definitely make sure to correct the dog's behavior. We don't need to go so overboard that it traumatizes them and scares them, right? It just needs to interrupt them at that moment, so that way they can recognize that they're not allowed to go here, you know, and then we give them praise whenever we take them out and they do go outside. And I've noticed with Mr. Kobe here, for example, he is definitely a marker. What I mean by that is he'll drink a lot, and instead of like some pups that'll just kind of dump out a lot or pee a lot in one instance, he will just only do little squirts here and there. So that's why it can be very good boy, and that's why it can be very deceptive. Sit, good job, good boy. Come on. That can be why it's very deceptive when you take him out for a walk, right? And even though he's out there for a while and he's peeing, doesn't mean, oh, careful, not everybody picks up. All right, doesn't mean that he is empty by any means. And if he's not supervised and, oh, careful, big guy, and are corrected when he's inside and about to mark, then he'll just think that that's okay and to continue to do so. Luckily, though, we've been able to at least start making some good progress on that just with the integration of his crate training. He does cry a little bit, but I think a lot of that is just because he wants to continue playing with his peers. He does settle down, and then he does cry again whenever I leave the room or step out of line of sight, and then he settles down again when I come back in. Most of the time I'm going to be with him anyways when he's in the crate, and then for any private sessions, I'll just take him with me in the car. And that'll also act like a crate, right? Seems to be doing well with that too. Just want to, of course, be careful not to leave them in there for so long without the opportunity to relieve themselves, because he's still a puppy and he's still learning, right? It's a good way to help them kind of have to hold it, right, instead of marking all over the place. But we want to not take too much advantage of that and use it responsibly, because as soon as he has to really go and he can't hold it anymore and he's in the crate, then he's going to end up relieving himself, and then we lose that opportunity to use the crate as a bit of an apprehensive tool, right, to keep him from not wanting to soil where he sleeps. Yeah. Boy. So just trying to use the leash mostly as a boundary right now. Boy. Not letting him pull really too hard at first. And then when he hits it, trying to get him to come back to me for a treat. And what we're going to do to start conditioning his name, since he seems to like these treats, and he's working well for them, right? See very little bit there. Good boy. So I'm going to let him know that I have the treat, right? He wants it. Now I'm just going to keep an eye on him. You can see he really wants it. And I'm going to wait for him to get distracted. And then when he does, then I'll say his name, Kobi. Oh, good boy. Good. And that'll get that sound that we want him to associate with his name. It's going to get his attention, and then we reward right away. The closer you are timing wise to an event, to either a reward or a correction, the more likely they are to associate it with that. Okay, so once again, he's starting to get to the end of the line. That's fine. Oh, good boy. Kobe. Oh, good job. Good boy. There we go. Normally I would do this on a freedom leash, so he has some more space and he's not just responding to the leash pressure. But because we want to work on him with good leash manners too, kind of just knocking out both at the same time. We'll go over some individual leash exercises. Good boy. Either this evening or tomorrow. It just really depends on how well that he that he does. He seems to be a pretty quick learner, but we want to make sure that we also have enough time to get enough practice rounds in for some proficiency before moving on to just something new. Oh, good boy. He's very treat motivated, so that helps, right? So once again, now this time I'm going to pretend like I have a treat, right? He doesn't know, but I don't. And I'm going to wait for him to get distracted or give up, and then I'll call his name for it. And this is how you can slowly wean him off of treats. Kobe. Yes, good boy. Come, sit. Yes, good boy. Good, listen. There you go. And then I reach into my pocket after giving him those commands for a treat or reward, right? It's kind of like people working. You know, we work 7 or 14 days before we get our reward. The concept can be really hard for some dogs to understand, so that's why we reward usually sooner or more frequently. But it doesn't mean that we have to be stuck, luring them with the treat all the time. It's the idea of getting rewarded eventually, right? That drives us to continue working for a cause. And it's the same thing with him. Kobe. Oh, good boy. That was really good. Good job. Good boy. And I said it's a very simple exercise here we got with him not making progress when the leash is being pulled, right? Good boy. Very good. As well as his name recognition. But this is going to be pretty much like the foundation to our pyramid. Right? It's got to be a strong base. Good boy up here. Oh, almost. Kobe. Yes. Good boy. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for almost like that immediate reaction when he hears his name to come and pay attention to me. He's a little tangled up. Oh, good boy. Yeah. Again, I'm going to try to space things out a little bit more for the rest of the walk, just because he still has an upset stomach. But I wanted to kind of do a lot more in this short section for the video, so that way his parents here can see what we're going to be working on. It's a really nice day out today, and I don't think he's going to have any problems going for at least half an hour to an hour. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to break, give him some water, let him relax for a bit, and then we'll do it again in the early afternoon and in the late evening. Or I might switch up the late evening for some different walking drills. But if I do, I'll be sure to record it for his mom and dad. And basically, the way the format is going to go is whenever we introduce a new concept, that'll be recorded. And then whenever we practice it, at least the first time, maybe the second time, that'll be recorded, but we're not going to record every time that we walk around the block doing this, just because it's going to get monotonous. And I want to kind of save the recordings for when maybe like we go to a different environment, right, to do the same thing. just so that way we can see how he behaves and how long it takes for him to refocus. All right. I got a call, so we'll go ahead and pause it here after I get his attention one more time with his name. Kobi. And then we'll continue on around the block. Good boy. Good job.